Welcome to Lesson 3 in Unit 21, From Sun to Food. In this lesson, students will work together to answer the question, how do air, water, and light affect plant growth? In this lesson, students continue an investigation using seedlings to determine the importance of water, air, and light for plant growth. Students figure out that plants need air and water to build their own matter. Light energy is needed for the healthy green appearance of plants. Students make connections to the storyline by learning that plants require air, water, and light to grow, all of which need to be provided on the pizza farm to grow their food plants. There are several opportunities for math and ELA cross-curricular connections throughout the lesson. You can look for specific standard connections in the Unit 21 Teacher Guide. This lesson will take approximately 4 days to complete. For the Engage portion, you'll ask students what they've learned so far from the Sprouter investigation and how plants gain matter. You'll also ask what they're testing in their current seedling investigation. You'll revisit the driving question board and highlight any questions that arose at the end of Lesson 2 and pertain to figuring out what plants need to grow and how these factors affect a plant's growth. You'll give each group their cups, string, and rulers and have them record observations and data on the Seedling Experiment Student Journal page. Please note that we highly recommend pausing a few days between the Engage and Explore to give the plants more time to grow. Revisit the suggested timeline in the lesson to elaborate for more information. After a few days, for the Explore portion, you'll give each group their cups, string, rulers, and have them record their final observations and data in the Seedling Experiment Student Journal page. Once students have collected their data, you'll have them graph their results and answer question 1 on the Seedling Experiment Student Journal page. Then, you'll group students into 3 groups. Each group should have each of the 3 variables represented. You'll have them compare their data and discuss the provided questions. In the Explain portion of the lesson, students will engage in a class discussion about their observations and data from the experiment. Use the provided questions to guide your discussion around the question, how do air, water, and light affect plant growth? The goal of this class discussion is to analyze student observations and data to explain how the plant seeds started to grow longer roots and stems each day without being in soil. The plants with air, water, and light grew the best. You will use the discussion to create the Lesson 3 summary chart. From the discussion, students should understand that to make pizza, people use the plants for many of the ingredients. On a pizza farm, the people would know to grow the plants that make foods for pizza and would need to understand that plants need air, water, and light to grow. For the Evaluate portion, you'll tell students that they'll use evidence from the experiment to add to their model of how matter and energy move on a pizza farm. They'll develop a Gotta Have It checklist that tells them what they would want to add to their model. Then you'll have students add to their pizza farm models and labeled explanations on the Pizza Farm Model Student Journal page. You'll have students work in small groups and use the Pizza Farm Model rubric and peer feedback table tent cards to provide feedback to each other. For the Evaluate portion, you'll have students revisit the Tomato Plant Prompt Student Journal page, as well as their predictions from the Sprouter investigation and Seedling Experiment to see how their thinking has changed. You'll allow students time to develop another argument in the After the Seedling Experiment section of the page. You'll also have students construct an argument using the Plant Matter Quick Check Student Journal page. Students can use the argumentation checklist to evaluate their response or provide feedback to their peers. To support student sense-making across the unit, orient them back to the driving question board. Ask students, what did we learn about how air, water, and light affect plant growth? What additional questions do you have now? By the end of this lesson, students will have constructed an argument using evidence about how plants gain matter. In Lesson 4, students will use a model to learn how plant uses matter and energy during the process of photosynthesis. For more information about this unit, visit myscipartners.com.